Hello, and welcome to the iProspect Insight Lab for SEO content and user experience. Today we're going to be going over why it's important to invest in consumer-centric experiences. Before we do that though, we want to make sure and outline why the SEO content and UX team are presenting together. We feel it's intrinsically really important that we understand not only how we can drive people to your website, but make sure that they have a good experience throughout it as well. And one of the big things and factors for that is making sure that we've got good content, good user experience, and a clear path to purchase. My name is Chris Philp. I'm the Senior Director, Head of SEO across iProspect, overseeing the channel. And with me, I have Karen Kysar.
I'm Karen Kysar. I'm the Senior Director of Consumer Experience Strategy, which encompasses content strategy and UX. And we're here today to talk about why and how you should leverage SEO, content, and UX to deliver an experience that consumers need and want from your brand.
We're going to begin by telling you to think more like a search engine. The reason for that is that search engines are investing in consumer-centric experiences. And when you consider searches today, there's no such thing as a simple search anymore. On the next slide, for example, we'll see that we wanted to be able to do this in person and have a bit of a guessing game relative to what this number means. It represents the number of algorithm updates that Google have made in 2018. Now, that's the most available data, and we fully expect that 2019 will demonstrate even higher numbers still. Now, why that's so important is that when you consider 2010, which only had 440 updates, there's so much more that's happening within the search engine results page, and we need to make sure that we understand and account for that. As I said earlier, there's no such thing as a simple search, and I'm sure everyone, unfortunately, has been searching for the coronavirus and various updates related to it. Even that very simple term, coronavirus, in Google's and other search engines' mind means so much. They have to be able to understand what the intent of that search is and deliver as many relevant experiences and results that will help answer any particular problem, whether it's understanding any news updates, understanding symptoms, understanding next steps, getting medical advice. We need to make sure and deliver those expectations, and that's what search engines have been doing and evolving for a long time. Now, considering another search, which maybe is a bit more product focused, looking at blue jeans, for example, not only are there plenty and various updates within paid search, there's image results, there's local results, there's product listings, even considering, for example, that the term blue jeans returns, as I found out recently, a Lana Del Rey music video. You need to understand that search engines really have a difficult time of trying to interpret intent to the fullest extent. And we need to therefore understand how search engines interpret intent to make sure that we can similarly deliver the best possible content. Because inherently all this content comes from your websites, and we need to make sure that we tag, code, and optimize accordingly so that we can have the best chance to appear. So again, those 3,200 updates that happened in 2018, what do they really mean? First and foremost, it's about understanding intent and interpreting it, not just about understanding what people are searching for, but why they're searching for those things and how to best deliver that result. Next up, we've got about solving a problem. As I'm sure a lot of you as users use search engines, whenever you search for something, there's a lot of times you see the results actually appear within the search engine result, and you don't even have to click on a website. Finally, and that's really related, is making sure that we can deliver on expectations. Users now, whether on mobile, whether on desktop, or potentially even voice devices, may look to get the result and answer read out to them immediately within the search results page, as I say, not even having to engage with the website. That said, your website setup is so crucial because if a search engine is sending you to the website, we need to make sure that we deliver a really seamless and really good user experience.
That's right. And in a nutshell, all of these updates are meant to provide great user experience. And we inherently know that a good user experience translates into more revenue. And in fact, 72% of buyers point to customer experience as an important factor influencing purchase decisions. So given how important a great experience is to shoppers and to your revenue, think back, how many consumer-centric site updates have you made in the last 12 months?
Now, with this here, this is really important. Google has several thousand engineers that can work on these types of things on a regular and daily basis. We understand that as clients and brands, we don't have the same capabilities or resources. So we need to understand what are the most prioritized elements that we can support in delivering those consumer experiences.
So if you need a little inspiration on how to prioritize, how to be more like search engines, here's our 3-step guide on how to interpret intent, solve a problem, and deliver on consumer expectations. The first step is, of course, interpreting intent, and that has to start with a deep understanding of your audience and the context behind their searches. And you've surely heard quite a bit that we have to be audience-centric in order to succeed, but how do we actually achieve a deep understanding of our audience? We start with first-party data. We can understand who currently visits your site and build profiles based on existing customers. And we can add to these points of data by conducting qualitative surveys that help us understand real behaviors, motivations, and triggers. So, for example, we might run a large-scale survey asking first-time moms what their everyday looks like, what they're seeking advice on, who their support network is, and how they might handle caregiving issues. And to give voice to all of that data, we may run small-scale user studies that help us hear directly from first-time moms what their experiences have been. For this lab, I ran a small user study with 2 first-time moms with small children at home, and this is particularly personal, of course, as many of you who know me know that my first daughter just turned 1 a few months ago. And in the study, we asked moms what their first weeks of postpartum were like, asked them to show us the types of searches that they performed, and then we also asked them to evaluate a website called Nested Bean, which you'll see later in this presentation. For now, here's a clip of one of our moms' responses to what postpartum was like for her in the first early days.
I felt like it was so overwhelming. Thankfully, I had a lot of support of my husband and my family, my mom. She came from Chile to help us, and that was very reassuring. I struggled a little bit with adjusting my sleeping schedule.
So you can hear in her voice how overwhelming it was for her, how she struggled, and a lot of us feel that way. And it's really great to have that voice that brings to life the data that we have. So all of this qualitative data and quantitative data helps us develop deep empathy for our end users and truly get to know them as people. And from there, we can develop personas rooted in this qualitative data. And ultimately, these personas help us identify areas where your brand has a right to win with content and helps guide our team in developing content roadmaps that addresses your audience needs. And really, there's another reason we need to get back to our roots of audience-centric market research, CCPA. Consumers are taking back so much control of their data, and we lose visibility into online behaviors. So we really need to get back to the basics of thoughtful, qualitative research. Now, the second step in our 3-step guide is to help consumers solve a problem. And that starts with a shift in focus from brand to consumer. We've heard that so much in the past decade, so I'd really like to reframe that as a shift from marketing to empathy. Here is a picture of my daughter at 3 weeks old, and make no mistake that I'm trying to buy your empathy by showing this picture to you. She cried a lot at night. So you can imagine the thousands of searches that I did at all hours of the day when she was little. And the keywords that I used carry a lot of intention and emotion behind them. So for example, if I was searching for a swaddle, I was very likely looking for a product. But if I was searching for swaddling, then I was probably looking for information on how to do it, whether it was safe, and essentially looking for other people's opinions on the topic. Those early weeks, I had a lot of problems that I was trying to solve for. And the key thing to take away from that is that I never started by searching for the solution to my problem.
So as we can see here on the left-hand side with the example, that is the solution to the problem, as Karen mentioned, swaddle. It's not what she searched for, but when we consider that keyword and what the results really represent, there's so much competition for a brand like Nested Bean to be able to play in and to have the right to win, given that there's so much investment in paid and given the significance of competition within these types of results. However, on the left-hand side here, you can see that Karen was searching for a solution to the problem. So how to get her baby to sleep at night. And within the results here, you can see that there's the interesting find component within the search, which provides users the option and opportunity to land on a content page. Now, this is really important because it's clear that the brand Nested Bean is really attempted to make sure that they can understand those problems and not solely focus on the product, which a lot of brands fall into the pitfalls of. From the content delivery standpoint, one of the things that Nested Bean do a really good job of is making sure that we can deliver on format types and really assess whether or not the article is going to be the most appropriate, a video or information via image, for example. And that really leads us to the delivering on expectation, making sure that we're not only showing up when they search, but making sure that it's easy for them to convert once they land on the actual website. Now, in some of our analysis throughout Nested Bean's site, we found that there are significant issues related to site speed. Now, this is not only a ranking factor, but a factor that really impacts the potential for users to convert. In analysing these websites, this website, we looked at both mobile and desktop. Knowing that the majority of their traffic will likely be coming from mobile, it's really crucial that we improve the mobile page speed here. Knowing that it's only receiving 21 out of 100 potentially impacts the conversion flow and likely leads to a significant amount of bounce rate within the site. So this is something that's crucial for them to address, knowing that there's so much traffic from mobile and knowing that it's crucial for their potential to convert. There are some other elements within the code, for example, that allow them to improve their visibility and have the right to play within some of those higher value terms, such as swaddle, which obviously receives so much more searches than how to get my baby to sleep. But at the same time, they need to make sure and make the most of some of the code opportunities. Schema in particular is an opportunity that allows you to be able to organize the content and make sure that search engines like Google can display it with as much information as possible that allows users to engage with your brand. Now, as we mentioned, Nested Bean do a lot of things right. They use Shopify CMS's platform in this instance, and one of the things that they clearly have done is use some of the out-of-the-box features. And from a layman's standpoint, this website does look like it's a user-friendly one. It looks like it's got a lot of components, but in doing some analysis, Karen's team was able to find that based on the user and understanding some of their needs, there's some elements that really need to be modified and adjusted.
That's right. On the surface, the site looks clean, friendly, and easy to use, and they are doing a lot of things right. But we found in user testing was that the touch targets on mobile were too small, which can be especially frustrating when you probably have your hands full. And both of our users struggled with getting to in-stock product from links within the content. And part of any good SEO, UX, and content strategy is really thoughtful internal linking, connecting content to product in a natural way. In our study, we watched 5 painful minutes while one of our moms tried to go from the super helpful guide of how to get your baby to sleep through the night to the swaddle that was actually presented as a solution. So I won't play this video for you because it is so long, but you can see that she really struggled to get to product. On the other hand, Nested Bean does do a great job with allowing users to check out quickly. So Nested Bean has Apple Pay, which can be incredibly handy when you're trying to check out one-handed. So does this 3-step approach really work? Anecdotally, yes. If you could see me, you'd see that I'm holding up 2 very well-loved Nested Bean swaddles. And we've actually also seen this in practice with our clients. Here is a great case study from one of our telecom clients. As you can imagine, there's really only so much interesting content you can create about a telecom product itself. So our team developed a number of guides intended to help end users with common internet and Wi-Fi problems as part of a larger content strategy around tangential but relevant topics where this client clearly has a right to win. This type of content helped our client elevate their equity by providing value to their end users and really beyond. And in turn, we saw increased improvement in the performance metrics that are so important to an SEO, content, and UX program. More organic visibility for key search queries, more organic traffic, and more conversions from organic traffic.
So some of the key takeaways for us, we'd highly recommend that you conduct some product searches. Take, for example, 10 keywords that you think are crucial to your brand and a product level. Try to look at the search engine results page. Are they as expected? And what types of results are appearing? What types of content formats are appearing? And who is your true competition in that space?
And take a step back from your product-centric keywords and think about 5 problem-focused searches that might lead users to your product as a solution, and what kinds of formats are showing up in the SERP.
Now, we certainly hope that you don't annoy your development teams, but we'd highly encourage you to work with them and understand what's going on from a site speed perspective, as well as some schema markup. It's such a crucial part of Google's algorithm in making sure that you can rank appropriately, but it's such a key driver in making sure that you can convert. Google and other search engines do provide free tools, of which we'll provide links to within this document, and it allows you to be able to check the speed. So that's something that you can work with your developers immediately to understand what's happening, what are they doing about it, and how are they addressing it.
And as our team did, run a couple of user studies, one focused on content quality of guides that maybe exist on your site, and then another on conversion points to see how seamless it really is for somebody to go to content, to product, to checkout.
And finally, if you'd like to address some of these issues that we brought up today, reach out to your client services or your SEO team. We can help support understanding what the consumer experience strategy looks like, provide the analysis, and make sure that as we look forward, we can provide support in making sure that you think more like a search engine in interpreting intent, solving a problem, and delivering on expectations. Thank you very much. My name is Philp.
Thanks, guys, for being here with us. This is Karen signing off.